This is section 3.5, and we're going to practice writing equations for lines if we know 2 points. First of all, I've got my point-slope theorem written up there, and I would recommend you write that down. Let's practice writing an equation if we know 2 points. Let's look at point 1, or the points in number 1. What do you notice about either your x or your y value? Hopefully you notice that your x values are the same. Does everybody see that? Both x values equal 5. That means that this equation has to be vertical. It is x equal to 5. What do you notice about number 2? Hopefully you notice that your y values are the same. Thus, y has to equal 6. Once we get to numbers 3 and 4, you notice that there's a difference. Here we're actually going to have to find the slope and then plug it back in to find the equation of the line. To find the slope for number 3, I'm going to find the difference in y and divide that by the difference in x. And simplify. How many agree I get -1? Hopefully. Now to find the equation of the line, I'm going to plug in this first point into my equation. I now know the slope, and I can say y minus y1, which in our case is 10, equals the slope, which is -1, times x minus x1, which in our case is 90, and I can simplify. And I get y minus 10 equals a -x plus 90. Add 10 to both sides, and I get y equals x plus 100. And I have my first 3 equations down. I would like for you to go ahead and try that exact format for number 4. All right, let's see how you did. For number 4, first I'm going to find my slope, and I'm going to do that by taking the difference in y and dividing it by the difference in x. And in my numerator I get 5, and in my denominator I get 6. Then I'm going to use this first point, x1, y1, and plug it into my equation. Y minus a -2 equals 5/6 times x minus 8. Let's go ahead and simplify, and I get y plus 2 equals 5/6x minus 40 divided by 6. Let's go ahead and use a decimal. And I get, actually, let's use a fraction, 6 2/3. There we go. Now I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. Here it cancels, and my final equation should be y equals 5/6x minus 8 2/3. How do we do? If you have questions on that, ask me tomorrow. All right, number 5 is actually a little bit different. What do you notice about it? Hopefully you notice that your x values and your y values are the same for both points. And so we should notice here that y's got to equal x. If x and y are the same for both points, then x equals y and y equals x. All right, suppose you know the formula relating systolic blood pressure and age is linear. You know the blood pressures for a 20-year-old and the blood pressure for a 60-year-old. Write a formula in which blood pressure is a function of age. Now we're going to be able to do this because we see this word right here. If it's linear, we can use the equation we just used. We're using this one right here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And first of all, let's notice my x values have to be my age because age is independent. And my y values would have to be my blood pressure because blood pressure is definitely the dependent variable. Blood pressure depends on how old you are. if those are my 2 points, now let's go ahead and find our slope. I'm going to do the difference in y divided by the difference in x. And in my numerator, I get 20, and in my denominator, I get a negative, I'm just kidding, I get 40. So it looks like my slope is 1/2. Would everyone agree with that? Okay, now let's go ahead and plug it in, and I'll use my x1, y1 point. Y minus 110 equals 1/2 times x minus 20. And let's simplify. And I get 1/2 x minus 10. Add 110 to both sides. And I get y equals 1/2 x plus 100. Beautiful. All right, last but not least, find an equation for the line through these 2 points. I'd like this on a piece of paper at the beginning of class tomorrow, and I'll see you then.